Let's get right into it. Number 6. The 11 p.m. identity crisis. Have you ever caught your own reflection at an odd hour and felt like you were staring at a complete stranger? Your brain then decides to throw a psychological curveball. What even is me anyway? Suddenly, you're standing there, foaming like a rabid philosopher, questioning consciousness while holding a toothbrush that cost $3. This little mental trip has a name: dissociative self-inquiry. Basically, when your brain takes a temporary vacation from its sense of personal identity. It's like your mind hits the software update screen but forgets to tell you first. Neuroscientists say your brain maintains a self-model by constantly stitching together memory, sensation, and awareness. But when that stitching gets a tiny glitch, even for a moment, you get hit with the internal equivalent of a 404 "you not found." It's not dangerous. It's not a breakdown. It's just your brain briefly recalibrating itself like an overworked intern running purely on caffeine and hope. Everyone dips into this weird existential puddle at least once, usually when tired, stressed, or left alone with their thoughts unsupervised for too long. And the funniest part? After all the cosmic questioning, all the metaphysical pondering, all the "why am I a consciousness inside a meat suit?" you usually just rinse your mouth and go to bed like nothing happened. Human psychology is wild like that. One moment, you're confronting the nature of existence. The next, you're scrolling TikTok. Basically, your identity processor just sneezed, and you had to live with the splash. Number 5. Your brain is the worst timekeeper ever invented. Ever noticed how 5 minutes of standing in line drags like an eternity, while 5 hours on your phone disappears in a blink? Welcome to the human brain's absolute inability to measure time correctly. For something that's supposed to be a survival machine, your brain treats time like a drunk. Magician, lots of confidence, zero accuracy. Psychologists call this time perception distortion. But honestly, it feels more like your internal clock is powered by vibes and bad guesswork. When you're bored, your brain basically goes, "Ugh, nothing's happening. Let's record every molecule of existence in painful detail." So time slows to a crawl. But when you're stimulated, having fun, doom scrolling, or watching a show you swore you'd only watch for 10 minutes, your brain stops taking notes entirely. No notes equals no memory markers equals time zooms past like it's trying to win a race. This is why your childhood summers felt endless. But your adult years vanish faster than the money in your bank account after payday. As a kid, everything was new. New equals memory rich. Now you're older, life is a routine, and your brain compresses time like a cheap zip file. Ironically, the more you try to manage time, alarm clocks, planners, productivity hacks, the more your internal clock laughs in your face. Time isn't actually changing. Your perception is, which is mildly comforting but also incredibly rude. Basically, your brain is the worst timekeeper ever invented. And yet, we still trust it to wake us up, live our lives, and pay our bills on time. Number 4. Your memory is just confident fan fiction. Picture yourself, enthusiastically recounting a story at a family gathering, something you swear happened exactly the way you remember it, only for someone else to go, that's not how it happened at all. And suddenly, you're sitting there, blinking like a confused goldfish, wondering if your entire childhood was directed by the same guy who wrote plot twists for soap operas. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Your memory is not a recording device. It's more like a chaotic improv actor who makes up half the lines and hopes nobody notices. Every time you recall something, you're not opening a file. You're rebuilding the scene from scratch, filling in gaps with assumptions, emotions, and pure imagination. Scientists call this reconstructive memory, but it might as well be called creative storytelling you didn't consent to. Your brain tweaks memories based on your mood, current beliefs, social pressure, and sometimes for absolutely no reason. Felt embarrassed once? Your brain might censor that part. Felt proud of something? Your brain might add confetti and a wind machine to the memory for dramatic effect. Worst part? You don't even realize it. The false memory feels just as real as the true one. That's why eyewitness testimony can be hilariously inaccurate, and why you sometimes remember a classmate existing who actually didn't. So yes, half of what you remember is basically fan fiction written by your own neurons. Basically, your brain is your own personal unreliable narrator, like a friend who insists they remember it perfectly, but absolutely does not. Number 3. Caveman firmware running modern-day problems. Take the grocery store, for example. You're calmly comparing cereal prices like a completely reasonable person, when suddenly your heart does that fast and loud thing. Your stomach drops, and your brain whispers, "We're in danger." Danger? Where? The only thing threatening you is inflation. This lovely experience is your fight-or-flight system acting like an overdramatic smoke alarm that activates when someone makes toast. Anxiety doesn't need an actual threat. It just needs a slightly weird thought, a stressful week, or a random bodily feeling. And boom, your brain pulls the emergency lever. Blame evolution. Your ancestors survived because their brains constantly expected danger. Saber-toothed cats, cliffs, rival humans with sharp rocks. But today, the scariest thing you encounter is a "we need to talk" text, or your boss asking if you have a minute. But your biology can't tell the difference between "I might die" and "I have a meeting at 3 p.m." When your nervous system misfires, it dumps adrenaline and cortisol like it's trying to win an award for best overreaction. Your palms sweat, your breathing changes, your muscles tense. Classic survival mode for comparing oatmeal brands. The comedy here is that your body is genuinely trying to protect you. It just has outdated software. You're running 2025 problems on Caveman firmware. Basically, your nervous system is the friend who hears one noise in the house and immediately assumes it's a demon. Number 2. The doorway effect. Your brain's buffering problem. Has your brain ever blanked the moment you stepped into a room, leaving you with zero memory of why you're there? You're just standing there, like an NPC, waiting for someone to press the interact button. Congratulations! You've just experienced a context-dependent memory glitch, which sounds scientific but feels like your brain temporarily disconnected from Wi-Fi. Here's what actually happens. When you move from one environment to another, your brain switches context files. It's trying to stay organized, like a tiny librarian frantically shuffling mental folders. But sometimes, in the chaos of reorganizing, it forgets to bring one of the important notes with you, like the extremely crucial fact that you came here to get scissors, not stare at the wall like a confused Roomba. Your brain isn't broken. It's just prioritizing the new environment. New place equals new sensory input equals new mental to-do list. The old thought slips through the cracks like a loose USB drive in a messy backpack. But the second you walk back to the original room, boom, your brain respawns the lost thought as if it wasn't just gaslighting you moments earlier. Psychologists call this the doorway effect, but it might as well be called your brain buffering. It's the same energy as opening the fridge, forgetting what you want, closing it, then immediately remembering and reopening it like you're stuck in a sitcom loop. Basically, your mind updates its internal map faster than it updates your intentions, leaving you in a temporary state of "who am I and what am I doing?" Number 1. The existential nuke. Your brain drops without warning. You're completely at ease, snacks in hand, fully minding your own business. And then, your brain suddenly decides to drop a philosophical nuke. Why does reality even exist? No warning, no context. Just the psychological equivalent of tripping over your own thoughts. Humans have been wrestling with this since forever. Philosophers call it metaphysical inquiry. but it feels more like your mind accidentally opening the deep questions folder you never meant to click. Your consciousness starts poking at reality like a suspicious Jenga tower. What is existence? Why can I think about thinking? Why does anything feel real? Am I real? Is anything real? Who gave me permission to perceive? Here's the twist. Your brain is literally built for questioning. Self-awareness is a feature, not a bug. Neuroscientists suggest that consciousness is an emergent property, like a bunch of neurons working together so intensely that they accidentally created a tiny, confused philosopher inside your skull. Lucky you. But the reason these questions hit so hard is because your mind loves patterns. In reality, not everything fits neatly. So your brain tries to make sense of the senseless and ends up spiraling into the kind of philosophical meltdown usually reserved for college students and monks. The hilarious part is that after a full existential crisis, you still have to stand up, wash a dish, answer a message, or go to work, like the universe didn't just glitch in your head. Basically, you're a self-aware meat computer asking cosmic questions while trying not to burn toast. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.